Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Former Minister for Commerce and Trade Emma Hippolyte and her sister are currently under self-quarantine after contact with a male visitor who showed signs suggestive of COVID-19. Neither Hippolyte nor her sister are symptomatic, but they have chosen to remain in quarantine as a measure of precaution. She spoke to our team via telephone on Wednesday.
Now 4 days into self-quarantine, former parliamentary representative for the Grizzly constituency Emma Hippolyte spoke with the Hot 7 News team on her decision to take this stance after her sister and herself were believed to be in contact with a suspected case of COVID-19.
I just need to say thank you for all your prayers, support. My sister and I have, as you know, self-quarantined from Monday. We await the results of the tests of one of our guests in our guest house.
Hippolyte thanked all well-wishers for their support during this time and urged members of the public to keep abreast with recent developments in COVID-19 protocols.
And in the meantime, I just ask all of St. Lucia to please remain safe. Those of you who have nothing to be out, no reason to be out there, please remain at home, please refocus, and please listen to the advice of the authorities. May God continue to bless us, and as always, the Lord is in control today and every day.
As she awaits results of CAFA testing, we wishing all the best to Miss Hippolyte. For Hot 7 News, I am Jacqueline.
The leader of the opposition St. Lucia Labour Party is throwing a few suggestions into the mix for the government of St. Lucia with the aim to make a contribution towards the ongoing fight against COVID-19. Philip J. Pierce says whilst he respects the chain of command as well as the advice being followed currently by the government, he believes that more could be done to create an even stronger resistance to the potentially deadly virus. Rochelle Gonzalez reports.
Opposition leader Philip J. Pierre is taking a step to be proactive and to encourage proactivity from the government of St. Lucia by making a few propositions that he believes would be valuable in the fight against COVID-19. During an address to the nation, Pierre states that he has no issue with Prime Minister Alan Chastain's decision to take guidance from PAHO, the WHO, from CAFA, and from the local Ministry of Health. He said whilst he does not doubt the authority of the experts who have asserted that the island is prepared, he wished to caution that it is better to be over-prepared. Pierre said other countries have been proactive even though in some instances they have as few proven cases as St. Lucia or no known cases. He said the island cannot afford to pay the price of being late in its decision-making and must act with haste to protect the people. With that, he went on to offer a few suggestions, including the discontinuation of hosting the NEMAC meetings with almost 100 persons who happen to be the key decision makers in St. Lucia in a room, as this is against the calls for responsible social distancing.
We should not wait for the first evidence of in-country transmission of the virus to institute aggressive social distancing measures. By then, it may have spread unnecessarily and uncontrollably. Consider instituting a ban on places where the public assembles. Or as a first step, set a limit on the maximum numbers who should be allowed to congregate publicly, at least for a period of 14 days in the first instance. Let us undertake an extensive public education campaign in both English and Creole to ensure that all citizens are fully briefed on how to respond to the threat of the virus and what to expect over the next few months. Whilst we discourage the spread of rumors, the first responsibility is on us to give out honest and transparent information to discourage speculation and help fight misinformation and panic. For example, if we do not say where the infected person stayed and what measures we are taking, then staff at all hotels will start speculating that it may be their place of work. Our citizens must not be led to become distrustful of the information that is disseminated.
Pierre called on the powers that be to make a special effort to sensitize the youth of the nation on the topic.
We need a special education campaign for the youth. From available evidence, they are the ones least likely to be affected, but they are the ones who are most mobile, active and fearless. They are most likely to be interacting on playing fields, blocks, bars and streets, but all return home afterwards, where they can infect the older members of their families. They must be strongly encouraged to follow the advice and bulletins issued to avoid further risk. It is not enough to say that once you are under 60 and have no underlying conditions, then it will just be a mild flu if affected. We need to be more consistent and clear in our messaging.
The opposition leader also encouraged the government to put measures in place to protect the nation's workforce.
We must announce a preliminary package of benefits to workers who will be displaced by the economic fallout. Already, hotels are closing and small businesses are feeling the pressure. The government must not allow individual hotels and businesses alone to determine how workers will be compensated. It has to be a national consensus. As a minimum, and as a matter of urgency, the Prime Minister must make some policy statements on mortgage deferrals, higher statutory sick pay, pay for workers laid off, and help for self-employed persons, example, taxi drivers, vendors, and people who work in the tourism industry. The people are anxious and cannot wait for the budget, which will not be presented until the end of April. We must announce a policy statement on the payment of utility bills now. Low-income workers must be given the comfort that their water, electricity, internet, and phone will not be disconnected during this emergency period.
Other suggestions coming from the opposition leader included the implementation of plans to allow civil servants to work from home, for parents to be able to stay home to look after their children, and the consideration of a deferment of installments on income tax due by large and small businesses for this year. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez.
The Seventh-day Adventist Mission is just one of many churches that have announced that they are closing their doors to their congregations. The church has decided that for the next 3 weeks, there will be no convening on church grounds. The SDA Mission is seeking to reassure its members that now is not the time for fear, but rather a time to stand resolute on the Word of God. Shanive Gonzaga reports.
In an effort to help mitigate the spread of coronavirus, the St. Lucia Mission of Seventh-day Adventists have decided to suspend all church services and activities for 2 weeks.
Whereas St. Lucia has only 2 recorded imported cases on the coronavirus, we as a church are being cautious, especially not knowing who may be unknown carriers of the virus. All churches will be closed from Sabbath 21st, 2020 for 14 days in the first instance.
The mission has indicated that all services will be streamed via social media platforms.
A special committee has been voted to plan the programs for Sabbaths, Sundays, and Wednesday evening services. From Sabbath, the 21st of March, these programs will be streamed via Praise FM, LNO Studios on Facebook and YouTube, Great Vision Design Television channel on channel 115 on Flow. And we are also seeking to add some more platforms on which you can view our services. But these additional platforms will be communicated to you on Praise FM as soon as they are agreed upon.
President of the Mission of Seventh-day Adventists, Roger Stephen, says that this move does not indicate a lack of faith, but rather shows the mission is following the word of the Lord.
The decision taken is not a lack of faith in God, nor in His protection. On the contrary, it is in keeping with His word, where we are advised to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. We of all people must lead the way in keeping the law as obedient children of the Lord. In the same tone, let me also encourage you to prepare the best way you can in maintaining supply of your basic needs as much as possible.
Stephen took the time to thank all ministries involved in ensuring that the public is aware of what is going on with the virus and how they could protect themselves. He is pleading with the public to meticulously follow the protocols put in place for our safety. He is urging his congregation to continue being prayer warriors, as COVID-19 is not only going to affect us economically, but physically and emotionally too. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzague.
Thank you, Genevieve. Pastor Ben joined staff at the Government Information Service, GIS, for National Day of Prayer, which was held today, Thursday. He prayed for the nation, invoking God's mercy and protection, but he also cautioned citizens to take action to safeguard their health. He says it cannot be faith alone.
In fact, I enjoy telling people, God has given you a brain. On Sunday, during my session and service, I actually came with my hand sanitizer. While I was teaching, I was using it. Come on, you've got to. You greet somebody, you jam it, you've got to use the God-given brain. And may I say to the audience, there may be people who seem to be strong in faith. Their faith is so strong that they say, I don't care what the Ministry of Health say, I will jam, I will hug, I will kiss. Excuse me, this is not faith, this is foolishness. Because God has given us a brain and the beauty of medical science to direct us. To God be the glory for our medical world and our medical people.
The government noted that with faith, action, and love for each other, the nation will be stronger and better able to deal with the challenges that it currently faces. One local is expressing disappointment and concern over a statement issued by the St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association recommending that its members, physicians, and dentists refrain from providing care to patients within their office spaces and instead utilize the various forms of telecommunication for a period of at least 2 weeks. John Peters says the association caused even more fear and panic with such a statement. Rochelle Gonzalez tells us more.
The St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association is being taken to task one day after issuing a statement which read, quote, "In keeping with international guidelines and the need for social distancing, one of the key pillars of prevention in the management of the COVID-19 pandemic, the St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association strongly recommends that all members, physicians, and dentists, for a period of at least 2 weeks, refrain from providing care to patients within their office spaces and instead utilize the various forms of telecommunication which are widely available for urgent consultations. This course of action is being taken primarily to protect our patients and by extension our community, and to ensure that urgent healthcare needs are addressed while these seemingly extreme but absolutely necessary measures are implemented." End quote. Civil engineer turned concerned citizen John Peters took umbrage to the news and has asked that the association rethink the position, as the advice given to use technology is not going to augur well with some patients.
You use technology as best as you could. My concern was if you have a single mother at home whose child is sick. But we go to these places, we go to our local doctor and deal with this. Whether your child has an asthma attack, a sickle cell attack, whether it is some tummy ache they have the night before, that is reality. And if you're suggesting to the public that you are instructing your members and recommending to your members, do not even deal with a young child, because that is how the wording is. Don't deal with a young child at this point in time, right? Call in, describe your symptoms, and some miraculous way, the doctor on the other line of the phone will be able to correctly diagnose what is happening to your young child. Which mother in St. Lucia will be comforted by that thought? It doesn't exist.
Peters said with the current stress and strain within the island's health sector and with the COVID-19 threat, the private health sector plays an integral role in the national healthcare system. It is for this reason, he said, that the wording of this statement was reckless and stands to cause more fear and chaos.
If you want to express those intents in words, you do not use these statements in a press release. If you have shortcomings, and I think they are doctors, they may not have the expertise in communication. There are so many communication experts in St. Lucia, and my only recommendation to them, given the sensitivity of the times that we are in, spend a little money, engage the communication experts, and ensure that the correct message that you want to send is reflected in the press releases that you send. But this, to me, my reading of it, the only word that I can use, the only adjective that is suitable, is that this is a reckless statement and should be withdrawn and the correction be made as soon as possible. As I said, our greatest fear at this point in time is fear. Use the science, use the statistics, and convey a right message to the population of St. Lucia.
On another note, Peters asserted that persons should not allow fear to make the situation worse than it is.
Use the science, use the statistics. If you get COVID, it is not a death sentence. And when you look in the various groceries and the various stores, you see panic in the eyes of people. You see people afraid, fear gripping them. It's as if every demon in hell has come out and we've been released in St. Lucia to create fear in the minds of people. And we cannot afford to cower in fear at this point in time. It's a time when as a nation we need to stand up, we need to face the consequences that are before us, and collectively, public, medical professions, and every person, the media included, face this battle that is upon us, and face it without fear.
On the part of the SLMDA, President Dr. Merle Clark stated that this is not a cause for panic, as medical professionals are not abandoning their patients. Dr. Clark said they are all in the same COVID-19 fight together, and that the recommendation is in fact for the safety of the patients themselves in a bid to prevent them from contracting the disease, especially those who are most susceptible to it. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez.
This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Stay with us. There's more coming up after the break.